All right, listen up. Before we deploy, we have a mandatory intelligence brief. This content is designed for your educational and board preparation purposes only. It is not, I repeat, not medical advice. All clinical decision-making must be done in consultation with official guidelines and a specialist physician. The mission briefing starts now.
Let's get straight to it. Our target today is calcium homeostasis. But listen, we're not here to just memorize a bunch of random facts. We are here to encode the core logic, to build the mental architecture you need to dominate the boards. Make no mistake, calcium homeostasis is a constant, high-stakes war. It's fought on three fronts: the parathyroid glands, the kidneys, and the gut. And right in the middle, giving all the orders, is the field commander, parathyroid hormone, or PTH.
So what does PTH do? First, it sends an order to the bone, your body's massive mineral bank, and it mobilizes calcium and phosphate, releasing them directly into the bloodstream.
Next, it targets the kidney. Its primary order: activate vitamin D. This is a really crucial step, so lock it in your memory banks. We're going to come back to it.
And third, while it's at the kidney, PTH executes a brilliant tactical maneuver. It dumps phosphate. Now, why would it do that? Well, think about it. Having high calcium and high phosphate floating around in your blood at the same time is a recipe for disaster. They can literally precipitate, forming solid crystals in your soft tissues. So PTH prevents this, ensuring a clean, efficient operation.
And all of this brings us to the central strategic map, the bone-kidney-gut triangle. Look, it's simple. PTH hits the bone, which releases calcium. It hits the kidney, which saves calcium and, more importantly, activates vitamin D. Then, that newly activated vitamin D hits the gut, telling it to absorb even more calcium from your food. You see, it's a perfect self-reinforcing loop. Master this triangle, and you are well on your way.
Okay, time to apply the logic. Let's go to exam room 5. You've got a 50-year-old male. He's complaining of recurrent kidney stones, some mild constipation. You run the labs, serum calcium comes back high at 11.2. You check the PTH, it's 85. Whoa, that is inappropriately high. Now your intern, he's eager. He's already on the phone prepping the patient for parathyroid surgery.
So here it is. The command decision is on you. You're the senior resident. The intern is ready to cut. Do you give the green light?
Absolutely not, sir. You stop him right there, because proceeding would be a complete surgical disaster. We are missing one critical piece of intel.
And that missing piece is our diagnostic compass, the 24-hour urine calcium. This is the test that tells us exactly what the kidney is doing with all that calcium. And trust me, that one piece of information changes everything.
And here's why. This is the core conflict you have to understand. In primary hyperparathyroidism, or PHPT, you've got a tumor. It's an autonomous gland failure, and the only fix is to surgically remove it. But in something called familial hypocalciuric hypercalcemia, FHH, the gland is actually fine. The problem is a defective calcium-sensing receptor. It's like the body's thermostat is just set too high. And you can't fix a genetic receptor defect with a scalpel. Surgery is useless, and in fact, it's harmful.
And this right here is the number that tells you everything: the fractional excretion of calcium. If the amount of calcium the kidney is actually putting out in the urine is less than 1%, this isn't a tumor. It's FHH. On any international board exam, FHH is the ultimate do not operate answer. This single data point is what prevents a catastrophic clinical error.
But hold on, sir, we're not done. We have to anticipate the board traps. The first one is the paraneoplastic trap. This is where you see high calcium, but the patient's actual PTH is low, it's suppressed. What's going on? You have to immediately think about a tumor, usually a squamous cell lung cancer, that's pumping out a mimic molecule called PTH-related protein. It's a fake, an imposter, and it's tricking the body.
And don't you dare forget the macrophage trap, especially in diseases like sarcoidosis. In this scenario, the granulomas themselves start autonomously producing the enzyme that activates vitamin D. The system gets flooded with active vitamin D, calcium goes way up, and PTH drops. But the real enemy here is the granuloma, not the parathyroid. So many students just see high calcium and immediately click hyperparathyroidism. Don't be that student.
Okay, Sarah, time to lock in the calcium contrast matrix. Let's run the drill. Ready? Ready, sir. Primary hyperparathyroidism. Urine calcium? High. FHH. Urine calcium? Low. Malignancy, PTH level suppressed, and sarcoidosis, active vitamin D sky high. Enemy identified.
And just to complete our combat matrix, remember the battlefield signs for the exact opposite condition, low calcium or hypocalcemia. You need to be looking for Schwastik's sign, that twitch of the facial muscles, and Trousseau's sign, a carpal spasm when you inflate a blood pressure cuff.
There it is. Logic. Sealed. This matrix right here, this is your key. It's the key that will unlock any calcium question they can throw at you on the exam.
The calcium balance is now secure. But listen to me. If you cannot handle the architectural decay of osteoporosis or the absolute metabolic chaos of Paget's disease, you will fail the geriatric boards.
Your next mission, should you choose to accept it, is our Bone Diseases module. Your training is not complete without it. Engage the module now.